These are the examples for Geometry B, Credit 3, Lesson 15.5. Lesson 15.5, we're going to be finding the measures of missing angles. And what's different between the problems for 1 and 2 and problems 3 and 4 is whether the segments, when I'm talking about the segments, I mean here and here, whether they intersect inside the circle or, as we're going to see with the example for problems 3 and 4, whether they intersect outside the circle as they do in this example here. All right, so we have, for our example for 1 and 2, we have two chords. Remember, a chord is just a segment that connects 2 points on the circle, so chord HF and chord GT. And they intersect, but E is, we're not told that it's at the center of the circle. In fact, it appears not to be at the center of the circle. Now, if it was at the center, that would be really nice, because when you have an angle with the vertex at the center, let's say this is a 70-degree angle, or actually, let's say this is a 70-degree arc here, the angle has the same measure. And so that would be super easy. Wouldn't have to really do any work. But we're not told that these chords intersect in the center. So we have to use a little formula, which is pretty quick and easy to do. So what you do is this. So if we're trying to find the measure of this angle here, the measure of angle FEG, this angle here, we're given two arcs. We're given the arc for that angle, for angle FEG, and we're given the arc that's opposite it here. So this is 140 degrees, this is 50 degrees. And then all we have to do is average those opposite arcs. And of course, there's two numbers, so we're going to add them up and divide by 2. And so let's go ahead and do that. So we have 50, we'll go top to bottom, 50 plus 140. And we're averaging them. Since we are adding up two numbers, again, we divide by 2. 50 plus 140 is 190. And dividing that by 2 gives us 95 degrees. And so the measure of angle FEG in our example here is 95 degrees. And to keep it simple, I think for problems 1 and 2, they use different letters, but these are the same letters for problem number 1, just to give a connection and make that first one a little bit easier. All right, same situation on 3 and 4. We're going to use the same letters that they do for problem 3. So the easier connection for that first one that you're going to do. So what do we do if the segments intersect outside the circle? Now remember what we call these segments. If the segment goes through the circle, that's a secant. And remember, if the segment just touches the circle, that's a tangent. So when the segments, and it doesn't matter if it would have been 2 secants or 2 tangents, the rule is this. Instead of adding the 2 angles and dividing by 2 as we did when the chords intersected here inside the circle, we are going to take these opposite arcs here and subtract them and divide by 2. Now, remember, the order you subtract matters. It's not commutative. So when we added here, we said, oh, we'll just work top to bottom, doesn't matter, because the order that you add 2 numbers doesn't matter. You'll get the same answer either way. But when you subtract, the order does matter. And so the order you want to do is the larger arc, which will be this one down here, minus the smaller arc. So we're going to do 130 minus 58, and then we're going to divide that by 2. So we take 130 minus 58, and that gives us 72. And then we divide that by 2, and we get 36 degrees. And so the measure of angle C would be 36 degrees. In fact, let's go ahead and write that down here. In fact, let's even do that over here for FEG. All right, and that is it. So again, if the segments, you have a couple chords they intersect in the circle, you're going to add the 2 arcs and divide by 2. That's what you'll do for problems 1 and 2. 3 and 4, if they intersect outside the circle, you're going to subtract the two arcs, larger minus the smaller, and then divide by 2. All right, so that's it for the examples for lesson 15.5. We'll step out of the way in case you want to pause and look at that. So again, pause, rewind the videos as needed, and I'm sure you're going to do great with the work. And until the next video, take care and God bless.